9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Good morning, everybody. I am Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor here on O'Connor and Company. It is 6:07 right here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. It is a Tuesday morning here. I'm sitting here with Julie Gunlock. Hello, Julie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, listen, we got a great show coming up. We got Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters. We're going to touch on his story, what's going on with the American Library Association. Who knew? Who knew again? You know, we hit the 2020s and all of a sudden libraries would become the political football. 8:05, we got John Fund from the National Review. He's their national affairs reporter. And we're going to talk Christmas music, among other things. Going to talk about Hallmark movies as well with Amelia Hamilton. She's a blogger, friend of the show, friend of mine. But listen, I want to get here because we got economic news, lots and lots and lots going on. We had the jobs report last week. We're going to dive into that in a minute. But Julie, we were talking about this on the break. This is crazy because I've been thinking we might want to get a new house. Move in as we're now approaching empty nesthood. Things change. You figure out where you want to be for the next 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
Study out of the Wall Street Journal here. Again, Biden's economy. The math for buying a home no longer works. These charts show you why. And it's a situation in which one of the bottom lines here is that since Biden has taken office, the average monthly mortgage payment has skyrocketed from $1,700, almost $1,800 in 2021 to $3,300 just over $3,300 in 2023 under Joe Biden. I mean, it gets into this. Why? Why would people want to buy a house?
Yeah.
Why? Anyway, go ahead.
And people who right now might be in their house and not really thinking of this. I mean, you've got, if you've got kids, I have kids that are a little bit older. One of them is, we're looking at colleges now. I think about his future when he gets married and has a low paying job, because my kids are not delusional. They don't get out. They're not going to get out of college and think they're going to make, 6 figures instantly, like some of these Instagram influencer baloney people, fake people. So, this is really a gut punch when you realize that the American dream is slipping away, that people simply cannot. And this is true of even very small houses, a 2-bedroom, sort of rambler.
Oh my God!
In DC,
yes, absolutely.
$1 million bucks.
It is not quite the San Francisco Bay Area in terms of the outsized prices versus what you get, the value, shall we say, of the house. On the other hand, it is among the highest in the country here in the D.C. area in terms of what you get your bang for your buck when you're out there. By the way, which of course pushes people further out into the suburbs and longer commute times. There's a reason why. Listen, we went out. It was about a year ago. I interviewed Paul Reiser, and he was doing a concert out in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and we went out there, and I was shocked at the bedroom communities that were being built over by Harper's Ferry and Shepherdstown and Charlestown. People who commute into D.C. to take these major train trips because they can get much, much bigger houses out there.
You asked why is this happening? Wall Street Journal has a really good analysis of this. It says, following the increase in costs, housing is now less affordable than any other time in recent history, with mortgage rates exceeding 7% and median housing prices rising around to $392,000 as of October. High inflation and a relative tightening of the supply of housing have resulted in the increased prices, while the high mortgage rates are in response to the increasing cost of credit. The average for a 30-year fixed mortgage reached an all-time modern low on January 7, 2021, reaching 2.65 just days before Biden took office. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, mortgage rates then reached a recent peak of 7.76 on November 2nd of this year, receding slightly to 7.03 as December 7th.
Right.
That is why. And that is, as you can see from this analysis, when Biden took office, it skyrocketed.
And Julie, that is just the financing side of this, right? You have the other part of it is, part of the reason why housing starts are down is because of the regulatory economy. Yeah. Right, we now know, Wayne Cruz over the Competitive Enterprise Institute regulations now costing the average American family almost $15,000 per year. When you put bizarre mandates about construction and about appliances and about the various things that need to do, when you put various environmental restrictions on where you can build and how you can build that are outsized, again, beyond the norm, this causes the price of construction to go up. It makes it less palatable. So when you combine the price of new housing, right, when you make it impossible to buy, to cut lumber in the United States and process lumber in the United States, and so we're having to import it from Canada, right, that adds an expense as well. And so all of these things conspire. So you have houses that are priced higher than they otherwise ought to be, while at the same time you have financing that costs much, much more than it ought to cost. And this gives it creates a perfect storm. See, here's the thing, Julie. I am a little bit more optimistic, not in the near term, right? Because we remember massively outsized interest rates in the 1970s, where it was costing, in double digits to finance a home. But it took the will of conservatives, namely Ronald Reagan and others around him, to work diligently to bring those rates down, to do the things to bring both the rates and the costs down. These things matter. This is why elections matter, right? We played the clip yesterday of Mitt Romney, Julie, who was talking about this idea of character is more important than policy. You want to know? You want to know why that's a garbage statement? It's in this story that we're just talking about right here, right? This is not about character. This is about public policy,
that's right.
And these are policies that are directly hurting the average American working family.
You couple you couple this incredible. I mean, we talked, so going from $1,700 to now $3,300 for your mortgage payment. Just think of that coupled with high gas rates, food costs, right?
Exactly.
Energy costs to heat your home. I mean, it is unsustainable. And now, I'm in this mode right now where I'm Christmas shopping. I mean, it is killing me because, I simply cannot buy as much and give the kids as much as I once did, as I did in years past because of these it all adds up. And ultimately, you run out of money.
Yes. You're going to listen. And Margaret Thatcher put it best. That's the problem with socialism. It's pretty soon you run out of other people's money. Listen, as a side note to all this, and we may come back to this later on, that jobs report that came last week, that stunning jobs report, 199,000 jobs created under the Biden economy. Yeah, almost half of those jobs were government sector jobs, which disturbs me on no small end, that governments are hiring on tax dollars to buttress these numbers. Another 30,000 of those jobs were those auto workers who've been striking, coming back to work. And so really it wasn't 199,000 jobs. It was about 90,000 jobs that may have been created under the Biden economy. And that's just no good. Listen, we got more to come to, but first it's 5:15 a.m. WMAL.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live
from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
WMAL. More than just politics, because laughter is the best medicine. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Julie, can I still use the phrase spinster to describe an older unmarried woman?
I think you can, although you should, just don't check into Twitter later in the day.
Okay, there you go. I will not. But do you remember when the stereotypical librarian was like a spinster who, was very quiet,
I always think
very
of,
particular?
what was her name? Almanzo's sister on
Oh,
Little
yes,
House on
yes,
the Prairie.
Liza Jane.
Eliza Jane. I always think of Eliza Jane.
Yes, that is my wheelhouse. Obscure Little House on the Prairie trivia. Yeah, that's a good one. I appreciate that. For me, it's George Bailey's wife in It's a Wonderful Life, right? Remember, she's closing up the library. She never found the right man to marry.
Right.
She's this mousy little woman.
Aw.
Well, apparently it's not that they're spinsters or mousy women. Apparently, they are Marxist lesbians now.
Yes.
And I mean, this is again. I mean, you listen. You talk about the fact that for the left, it is about ideology uber alles and infecting ideology into every aspect of American life.
I feel like Eliza Jane could have been a lesbian Marxist.
I don't think she would have been a Marxist. Listen, that Wilder family, they were all super libertarians. Like it was. I'm sorry to digress again. I was amazed. Now, I came to my libertarianism or my conservatarianism, through my ardent anti-communism, and I read Jefferson and I read Locke and it was not until I started working at the Competitive Enterprise Institute back in the late 90s, early 2000s that I found out that Rose Wilder Lane. So the daughter of Laura Ingalls and Almanzo Wilder, she was like a giant in the libertarian movement.
I was joking. I didn't actually think Eliza Jane was a lesbian Marxist, but keep going.
But my point is this. So by the way, we're going to be talking about the American Library Association and what's going on with Oklahoma with Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters in the next hour. But there is this, last year.
They're all activists, and they're all putting in, woke gender books into the children's section, and they're all, acting like they're all under attack, and they believe in dismantling all American institutions, including the libraries.
Here's the thing, right? So we got this, Emily Drabinski, who is the woman we're talking about. I don't even know if I'm allowed to call her a woman. I just can't. She tweeted out last year when she became the head of the
American Library Association.
I just cannot believe that a Marxist lesbian who believes that collective power is possible to build and can be wielded for a better world is the president-elect of the ALA Library.
By the way, believe it either.
I can't believe she's talking about herself in the third person. I am so excited for what we will do together. Solidarity.
Yeah.
And my mom's is so proud. I love you, Mom. There you go. Yes.
Yes, comrade. Good job.
Yes, comrade mother
is
so proud of me. But my point is, I guess it's interesting because we talk about ideology infecting every aspect of American life. And I know that libraries were supposed to be safe spaces for the geeky, right? The geeky and friendless. And I don't mean that in a pejorative way. I mean that, if you were an uber nerd like I was, you spent a lot of time in the library. Yes, exactly. Listen, I wear my nerdness, my uber nerdness.
Andrew, listen, this all started after 9/11 with the Patriot Act, when there was a portion of the Patriot, which I disagreed with, which allowed the feds to go in and check what people were checking out, right?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, these librarians do you remember this, Andrew?
Yeah,
during
I do.
9/11, during that era, that post 9/11, where librarians became really active, and they were like, "Wait a minute, no, I am not going to give my records to you feds." And then honestly, I feel like everything fell apart after that. Suddenly they were like, "We have found a political cause, and we are a bulwark against saving the American public and saving your privacy." And I feel like it's like an addiction. Like after that, they couldn't return to Eliza Jane life and It's a Wonderful Life wife. No,
Mary,
whatever. They were activated, and after that, it was all over.
Katie barred the door. Eliza Jane barred the door, and it was all that's right. And it's a situation, right? My favorite, of course, in all of these stories are the library displays with banned books.
Right.
If they're banned,
how is it banned?
How is it banned?
Yeah.
If you could,
or they take a pic. They go into a Barnes and Noble and take a picture of the banned books. I'm like,
But here's the thing. So you have the American Library Association, which is this umbrella, a body that advocates, right? And they're really, again, if you talk about the bulwark, the activist vanguard, that's the word the Marxists use, the vanguard of this activist library movement. States across the country are departing ways with the American Library Association. So it's Oklahoma, and we're going to be talking about this with Ryan Walters in the next hour. The State Library of Louisiana, Florida as well, have Texas, Montana, and Alabama. And listen, again, you vote with your feet. this is important stuff here, and we have to have against standards, and these states have every right to disband themselves and separate themselves from organizations that are no longer advocating in the best interests of the constituencies for which they serve. Listen, we got so much more to get to. Right now, it's 6:22 here on WMAL.
Now
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
We welcome back, everybody. It is 6:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. A good Tuesday morning to all of you. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. This, of course, is O'Connor and Company. We've got Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters coming in the next hour. In the 8 a.m. hour, we're going to be joined by John Fund from the National Review, and Amelia Hamilton, our old friend Amelia Hamilton, is going to be joining us to talk about, among other things, the Christmas songs that need to go by the wayside. In the meantime, we spent a good chunk of time yesterday talking about this SNL sketch over the weekend, Julie. And this sketch about it was their cold open, right? And usually they use the cold opens for their big political hit piece of the week. And one would think that it's SNL. They would be making fun of anti-Semitism on college campuses. But no, one would think. But no, of course, they took yet another opportunity to go after Republicans, specifically Elise Stefanik. Michael, let's go back. Let's hit the Wayback Machine and hear cut number 3 here.
We're joined today by the heads of 3 of our most esteemed universities, the president of MIT, Sally Kornbluth.
I've never been more afraid to be anywhere.
The president of UPenn, Elizabeth McGill.
Can I just resign now?
Not yet. And the president of Harvard, Dr. Claudine Gay.
Thank you.
Dr. Gay, would you like to do a quick joke about your name to get it out of the way?
I would. Dr. Gay sounds like a Molly dealer on Fire Island.
Thank you. Now I'll turn it over
listen,
to...
we can stop it there, Michael. It just, it's unfunny. Also, by the way, a joke that really only will, anybody who grew up in New York or is familiar with New York or is gay will understand the Fire Island joke that was there.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, so there's controversy swirling around the sketch. There are calls for apologies. Good luck with that.
Well, we didn't. Yeah, I mean, that cut 3 didn't really show the worst part of it, which was, Michael. I don't know if you have that cut.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, Arno is calling for the genocide of Jews against the code of conduct for Harvard.
Well, it depends on the context.
What? That can't be your answer, you pen lady. Same question, yes or no?
Well, we are serious about stopping all forms of hatred, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia.
And then the second one, MIT lady, chance to steal. And keep in mind, if you don't say yes, you're going to make me look good, which is really, really hard to do. So I'll ask you straight up. Do you think genocide is bad?
Could I submit an answer in writing at a later date?
Am I winning this hearing? Somebody pinch me.
Ms. Stefanik, your time is up.
That laughter you hear is called awkward, polite laughter from the audience. That was so bad. Why are you making fun of the woman who is trying to ascertain trying to figure out why they're defending anti-Semitism?
Right.
Why is that the monster in this? Why is that the person who's getting the crap from the SNL skit
right.
there?
That's yes. It's a situation, right, where humor works in terms of tearing at the truly powerful and diminishing them, right? That's the way satire and parody is supposed to work. Is you're supposed to tilt at things that are supposed to be made fun of.
At one point, Elise Stefanik goes, "This isn't hard." Right. These were sort of layups she was giving them. Right. Like,
right.
And you could see in Elise Stefanik's, I mean, what would have been funny if SNL had said, "Okay, ladies, is kicking a puppy bad?" Right?
Exactly,
Like
yes.
it could have been funny if they had taken some very obvious things and asked them questions, and these women were like, "Well, like, is the sky blue?" It depends on the context.
But of course, we are living in an era in which these same university presidents, if they were asked the simple question, "How do you define a woman?" none of them would be able to answer that. It would be answer that. Now, interestingly enough, one of the stories to come out of this is that Cicely Strong, who friends of the Larry O'Connor show might know, she portrayed our another friend of the show, Scotty Nell Hughes. She did a parody of Scotty Nell Hughes back during the 2016 election. Cicely Strong, her limit apparently is parodying Elise Stefanik. She apparently became uncomfortable at the last minute because a lot of folks don't know there is a full dress rehearsal of Saturday Night Live that occurs at I believe 9 p.m. Maybe it's 8 p.m. Whatever it is, right before the show, the same evening of SNL. They do a full dress rehearsal. She said, "You know something, I can't do this." And Chloe Trost, who's this new cast member, very celebrated when she came on and did it. She took on the mantle here because she just felt uncomfortable.
Well, good for Cicely Strong. That's good.
Yes, she has. Listen, she has a standard there, which you know every once in a while you'll see an SNL cast member who will take a stand on something and say, "You know something, I'm just not gonna do that." Of course, the big fear is that somebody else will step in there.
And they are facing calls to apologize. I mean, you've got Barstool Sports saying the skit was one of the worst cold openings of the show's history. I agree. Meghan McCain calls the skit vile. And it was, and Anti-Defamation League
the ADL,
head,
yes.
the ADL. He's not right very
it's
often.
It's 2 levels, by the way. Let's be really clear. It's 2 levels here. It is offensive in that their target of pillorying was the woman who's trying to uncover anti-Semitism on college campuses. Yeah. But then it's also offensive because it was just not funny.
Exactly.
It's the other part of it. I mean, at least have a little elan and be funny. Listen, we got so much more to get to. It's 6:43 on WMAL. Well, we are back, everybody. I am Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor. This is O'Connor and Company. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
That is Julie Gunlock. Listen, Julie, as I was saying before the 6:30 break. It's election cycle is upon us, and you know what that means.
What does that mean?
It means it's time to push for more mask mandates and vaccines. Yes, let's raise the specter of COVID-19 once again. The CDC director, Mandy Cohen, released a video last week talking about encouraging Americans to wear masks and get vaccinated. Let's hear what she had to say, Michael.
Get your updated COVID and flu vaccines and your RSV vaccine if you're over 60. It's not too late to get vaccinated if you haven't already. And use additional layers of protection, like avoiding people who are sick, washing your hands, improving ventilation, and wearing a mask. And if you do get sick, I know it's hard, but stay home so you don't spread germs to others. And get tested so you know what you have and you can get treatment.
Okay, did you think that we were replaying...
Yes.
The Elise Stefanik
exactly
SNL.
What I
thought it was the same woman.
It literally sounded like a parody. And the problem, of course, is
wear your mask.
Wear your mask. It's deadly serious. Get vaccinated. And see, here's the thing, right? As I was saying, the good political satire, good political parody, it swipes. It takes a swipe at officialdom, right? It goes after those in power and tries to knock them down a notch. And with that in mind, there's a flashback on this to Dana Carvey and David Spade. I will admit, I am a huge fan of their Fly on the Wall podcast.
Well, they still do comedy.
They still do comedy, but also they're not afraid to go after and tilt at officialdom. Dana Carvey, the podcast is on hiatus right now because of the Carvey family's tragedy. But let's sort of do a flashback to this past April. Here are Dana Carvey and David Spade talking about Fauci and vaccination.
I miss COVID. I know. Dude, you know what I knew? There was trouble when anyone that came to our country didn't have to get a vaccine. And I go, if you're telling me I can't go to work, but everyone coming in doesn't have to get one, I go,
well, once we found out when Fauci said, Okay, I'm sorry. If you've had 2 boosters and 2 vaccines, you can get and give COVID to another guy who's had 5 vaccines and 4 boosters. What's the difference between a vaccine and a booster? I don't know. It's just more vaccines. A booster sounds better. Anyway, a guy with 25 vaccines would get and give COVID to another guy with 25 vaccines. That's why I'm introducing the daily COVID shot. Every day you get a shot. By the time you get to your car, you got no immunity. But it's a beautiful 39 seconds.
That's funny.
And
parody.
but imagine that SNL is not doing this.
Yes,
like
that's
that would have
exactly
been
right.
That would have been the kind of comedy, frankly, that probably would have brought us all together. But no, they had to make fun of Trump or some other thing.
Julie, you made a perfect point here. That's the other part of this, is that this parody is supposed to bring us together. You know something? We all can agree we could make fun of those in official power,
Yes.
who are doing the wrong thing, who are doing dumb things. We point that out. It is the very concept of the little boy pointing out that the emperor has no clothes.
That's right.
That's
right.
what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be a unifying force. But yet maybe that's part of the problem, is that SNL has had a tradition of working to divide people along.
No. What's so galling is that it is them standing there saying that they are speaking truth to power.
Yes.
When, they make fun of things like the Catholic Church or Donald Trump. I mean, like, that's not speaking truth to power. That's doing
Amen.
what everyone else is doing, right?
Right.
I mean,
but also at the same time, right, it's not just not speaking truth to power and masking it as that, but it is in fact shilling for the power structure.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I mean, that's the thing that gets me,
yes.
is that, it's like, right, 1975 Lorne Michaels was the subversive. Even I would say mid-'80s Lorne Michaels was the subversive, but 2023 Lorne Michaels, the producer, creator, head of Saturday Night Live, no longer subversive, but the guy who hobnobs with the elites all around the world. Listen, it is 6:52 here on O'Connor and Company, WMAL.